Welcome to Brain Thunder, where we interview millennial entrepreneurs, commentators, scientists, execs, and everything in between. People that make a difference in their industry, here to inspire and educate. With us today, we have Michael Marra, CEO and founder of Entrep, a social network for entrepreneurs. Entrep aims to connect entrepreneurs, help them grow, and learn from each other through a series of events, and through connecting through the app. Entrep boasts more than 10,000 users and aims to create the biggest network for entrepreneurs. Michael, welcome. Now, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
Virtually coming. I was just telling someone yesterday actually that Entra's journey is incredible. And, it started from just an idea and then it's reached a point now where it has more than 10,000 users. And every entrepreneur that I've spoken to at Brain Thunder on camera and off camera tells me that there's a point where they realize that something's not working and they have a better idea about how to make it work. And that's where the startup gets born. And that's the idea that leads them to fix it for everyone else. What is it that you're trying to fix through Entrep? What was it that led you one day to say, this is not working, I have a better idea, and the way to do it is Entrep?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it really started when I first got into entrepreneurship and everything. I used to be a civil engineer. I just became so fascinated by online business, tech, and also investing. And
Mhm.
the first thing I got into is actually real estate, but ended up not necessarily being the best fit for me, as I learned later. But as I got into all of this stuff and started looking, into entrepreneurship, I was just shocked that there wasn't a place to that everyone knew to go, right? I
Mm.
was just kind of out there scrambling on the internet trying to figure out how to start a business or who to talk to and meet people and find mentors and all of that stuff. And there wasn't a go-to place for it. And none of my friends or family are entrepreneurs. So
Mm.
it was very difficult for me when I was starting out because I had a million questions
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
had no one to talk to about it.
Yeah.
So that was a big reason. I just started kind of originally was just a Facebook group for millennial entrepreneurs. And then as I started talking to people, meeting people, everyone was interested in the same thing. They were looking for community but couldn't find it. And all of these other social networks weren't and are still not designed for entrepreneurs. But there's so many entrepreneurs now,
Mm.
all different types of entrepreneurs. And
Yeah.
many people classify themselves as entrepreneurs in many different industries and many different types of entrepreneurs, not just tech founders, but solopreneurs, artists, musicians, freelancers, all sorts of stuff, right? And that in its core is what led to starting this community and then eventually building out our tech and the app and everything else.
And and that's incredible. And I totally understand that there's so many questions and there's nowhere to go, really. I mean, look at Bumble. Apparently they introduced this Bumble business or like their own little network of people. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about that, maybe off camera. Would be a wise idea. But very few startups stick to the idea of the founder at inception. I mean, look at Amazon. It was supposed to be a bookstore, for God's sakes, and now it has everything. They even have a grocery store. And so you said that Entree started as a Facebook group with just a few of your buddies, a few of your friends, and other people that had a lot of questions. Now it's reached a point where it has 10,000 users. You have an app, there's events, and we'll get into that. But where do you see Entree going, and how has that changed since its inception?
For sure. Yeah, we have like over like 22,000 users now, so
Oh
it's
wow!
pretty
Oh my
wild.
gosh!
Um,
I took my figure from January 2021. So you guys
it's
are
all
killing
good.
it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there are always still going to be jobs there, but I think they're going to be a little bit different. I think more people are going to operate as independent contractors and freelancers
Mhm.
than they are going to be actual employees, right? Which allows them more flexibility,
Mhm.
which allows them to do more of what they want. And I think that's where the direction of things are going, right? So
Mhm.
if you look at how much some of these other companies have grown, like Shopify, Upwork, Fiverr, These are all multi-billion dollar companies, but they have no community. They
Right.
have no social platform. Where are all of these entrepreneurs online connecting and actually socializing and meeting each other? Right. So, right. So that's really the thing. Starts with the network, right? So the first thing is network, right? Then we can get into education, we can get into software, we can get into a bunch of different things.
And you
And
do
the
have a background as an engineer, so that's
Yeah, I mean, the core of the vision is to be the only place entrepreneurs need, right? And when you break that down, that's a lot of things, right? And you as an entrepreneur, you're probably using, and other people you're probably using 5 to 10 or more different websites, software, and services every single day to network and run your business and grow your business, right? So how can we consolidate all of these into one place? Because you're probably using most of them for one little feature, one little function,
that's true.
and you're paying, $15 a month here, $30 a month here, $10 a month there, who knows how much, right? And there's no need for all of that anymore. Like technology is getting so easy to build.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. Is Entrep currently free? Is it free
Yeah.
to use, or is there? And do you think that's sustainable, or what's your plan going?
Yeah. Well, we have two. We have Entra and Entra Pro, right? So there's like the general premise is we want to give anyone wherever they are the ability to have all the basic things that they need, community and resources to
Right,
start a business,
right.
right? That's the general premise. We want to make it accessible to anyone, no matter where you are, how much money you have.
Mm.
As long as you have access to the internet, you can become an entrepreneur for free.
And that's amazing. I know you mentioned that there's been an increase and will be an even further increase of people that are currently doing their own thing and starting their own business because the corporate culture is in a bit of a decline with all the working from home, pandemic related restrictions. And so I just wanted to ask if you have any interesting figures of how much more your app has been used during the pandemic versus before, how many more people are now feeling braver and more ready to start their own business and be entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tricky. We technically launched just in October,
Mhm.
so it's only been roughly like 5 months.
Mm.
The biggest thing for us right now is how can we build the best product, the best user experience possible on the internet for entrepreneurs.
Mm.
So you'll actually be able to attend events, jump into rooms, live rooms, and also do one-on-one networking
Mhm.
directly on our platform.
Mm.
So you'll be able to meet people instantly from all around the world that are interested in different topics and stuff that you are. So all of this is coming.
I was reading this study just before this call about how 45% of entrepreneurs fail within the first 4 years. And I just wanted to ask you, first of all, that's slightly grim, but what are your top tips for young entrepreneurs? Do you build your team first or do you finalize your product idea?
The first thing you need to do is you have to figure out as fast as possible, does anyone even want what I'm trying to build? Right? You
Mhm.
can either get a bunch of people to do something for free, or you can get a small amount of people to pay for something, right?
Mhm.
That's generally two of the most common ways of looking at it. So, could I get someone to pay for this, or will a lot of people sign up for free? Because then you can monetize the attention and the like. You could do sponsors, you could do ads, you could do a number of different things with that.
Like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or pretty much
Yeah,
anything.
if you don't know for sure if people actually want it, you probably shouldn't build it, right? And you can test things now very easily. You can just make a landing page with, a quick, just, hey, join the wait list for this product that I'm building. Make a couple screenshots or do something and at least get
They
validation that people
interest
want
level.
it and
Yeah,
are interested in it.
right.
If you don't have interest, you can just get a skill set and sell that skill set. If you're really, really good at digital marketing, video editing, whatever, you can make a ton of money on the internet just doing those things,
Yeah.
right? If you're good at content, everyone wants content right now. If you're good at that and you can put it together and you know what you're doing and talking about,
People
you
will gravitate towards it. Yeah.
100%.
But do you think it's about timing too? Because there's a lot of businesses I
For
can
sure.
think of that would have failed had it not been for the
Timing is a
Yeah,
huge piece of it.
huge thing.
100%. I mean, there's a lot of studies that have been done on this.
Yeah,
Timing is massive. If you don't have timing, if you're not building the right thing at the right time, then your chances of succeeding are not good. And that's more for like tech and innovative things, right?
what is it that keeps you motivated in the middle of all this? Because I've spoken to a number of entrepreneurs and there's different things every time. Some people say it's the users of my product, some say it's my personal experience before that product that I created and my frustration of it not working and my desire to make it better. What is motivating you?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I just have I'm obsessed with solving this problem, right? I'm obsessed with
I figured.
making entrepreneurship accessible because we've already helped so many people.
Mhm.
There's nothing better than helping someone start something on their own
Right.
and be able to then control their own destiny and do their own thing.
Right.
And because it is a lot of, I often relate entrepreneurship to freedom because it is the ultimate freedom. It unlocks the ultimate freedom because you control everything. There's absolutely nothing that I'm going to do that's going to prevent me from building this business and continuing to do what I'm doing right now. And
Love this.
I'm not going to not do this until we have the largest network of entrepreneurs in the world.
Right. And I think that's incredible. And I can just see your persistence and motivation. And in fact, I was looking through some of the events that Entree has hosted, and I was looking at the Entree startup competition. So how do you define the perfect pitch?
It's a great question. And it's something that you need to be very clear and concise.
Right.
And also relate to the audience if you can, right, as much as possible, and tell a story. So people need to connect emotionally. They need to understand what you're doing. They need to understand not only what you're doing, but how you make money and how you grow.
Right.
And if you have those things and you're sharp and confident, you're set.
And was there a specific pitch that stood out to you personally during any of those competitions?
Mm,
Sorry to
man,
put you on
there's so many.
the spot.
Yeah, it's there's definitely been a few, and you can tell when someone has that kind of they carry that kind of energy. You could tell that they practiced it a lot.
Mm,
They understood exactly what they were going to say, how they were going to say it. If you're not clear, there's no chance the audience is going to be clear.
And there's
So
hard questions and there's difficult questions, and you need to know your product and your team and your idea inside out, or you'll be caught out and then you're always the person that doesn't know their own business.
exactly, yeah.
That's not a
You,
great
you
thing to
you
be
can see
remembered
it
by.
on. I mean, you see it all the time on shows like Shark Tank and stuff too. I mean, you can tell.
I don't think a lot of people understand just how important persistence is in making this
Yeah.
work. They really don't. And that's what I want to finish with. What was the biggest frustration that you encountered when trying to build Entree, where you were like, this is harder than I initially thought?
Yeah. Oh man,
So many.
there's so many. It's you get a. I mean,
I can think of so many things just
it's
from
you get a big slap in the face. Like I thought I'll just leave my engineering job and I'll start making money like that. There's so many things, but at the core, you have to surround yourself with people that are going through similar things and also where you want to be. So, generally speaking, you should be breaking it down in kind of like thirds. You should be hanging out a third of the time with people like mentors, people that you want to be like, right? All of that. You should be spending a third of your time with peers, people who are around similar stages as you, so you can talk to about what you're going through, right? And then you should spend some of your time too on mentoring younger people because that's going to help you get clear and actually teach what you've learned as well. The
This is
problem is a
incredible.
lot of people like the teaching and being a coach. So there's a ton of these people on the internet now that as soon as they do anything, they just start teaching it right away. And it's like, yo, you barely even understand it yourself. Like, that's why when we get into education and e-learning and all of that, we want to do it at the highest level possible,
Mhm.
right? So, because there's a lot of information on the internet,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
you
You have to
have to be
filter.
able to discern
Mhm.
right from wrong and good from bad. And that's very hard at the early stages of being an entrepreneur. You don't know what you don't know. And
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and you can connect with one person. They're gonna lead you down this rabbit hole that's just not good for you. If you go back to, some of the stuff that we were talking about, like our whole thing is making entrepreneurship accessible. The majority of the people we are serving are the people who struggle with community, money, and don't have access to connections. You
Oh,
have to like actually do things. And when I see people that talk about this stuff, because it's very hot topic and people like to talk about it, but very few people actually do anything about it. And it's really frustrating.
when the Black Lives Matter movement was taking over the internet and people were posting black squares, and I invited someone over to talk about BLM, and she's incredible, and she's studied civil rights movements, and she's great. And I remember her saying, as a person of color, that to me meant nothing. And so it's so interesting that you say that we in
Right.
fact take action as opposed to just talk about it, post a black square and call it a day, because that's
Exactly.
not where it starts or where it ends.
Exactly. And that was my whole thing. I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Why are we posting black squares when we should be doing pitch competitions and help giving money to black businesses and helping people? That was my whole thing. Like, I don't like that game where people just talk about stuff, because that's the whole game X amount to whatever to this whole thing, and no one has done anything. Where's all that money that people said that they were going to do? Like, it just like lives in a bank account somewhere. I don't know.
And there's
Hasn't
no,
done
there's
much.
no, I mean, there's zero obligation, but once you say something, it would be great to follow through, because then you lack
Bingo.
all accountability and all seriousness.
Exactly. Yep.
On that note, I know you're super busy building Entrep, but thanks so much for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it. I'm going to keep an eye out for Entrep because I'm obsessed with the idea. And yes, and thank you so much for coming.
For sure. Yeah, it was my pleasure. And yeah, we'd love to have you, active in the community, and definitely come out and share what you're doing, because it's great. And yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of other people that would be within the community that would be great to chat
talk
to
to.
as well. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Um,
I'm looking forward to Entrep 2.0. So that's what I'm waiting for personally.
yeah.
All right, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's that new age, ain't it something special? Yeah, we gon' change the game.